Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Fat Minute, the official podcast of Puka Saucy. I'm gathered here today with co-creator Michael Whedon.
How you doing?
Co-writer Trevor Klein.
How's it going?
Editor and producer Donnie Johnson.
Why is Brad here?
And we also have a very special guest appearance tonight, Brad Nedved.
Yo.
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Doing alright?
All right. Brad, for the first round, I'll have you go last just so you can see the rhythm and formula of everything, just so you know what we do here. How's everyone doing tonight? Good?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm all right.
The first trailer dropped for the movie Black Mass, which is about the infamous gangster Whitey Bulger, played by Johnny Depp. I think it looks good. It looks interesting. It's definitely a nice role for him lately. I want to go into what do we think of this trailer, and also what do we think of Johnny Depp in the last few years, specifically the 2010s so far, this decade. What happened to him? Why has his last few movies been a major fucking disappointment? Let's start with you, Donnie.
Well, first, I think this trailer looks pretty cool. I like a good mobster movie. And Johnny Depp definitely looks like this will be one of his better roles in the past few years. While we're on the topic of Johnny Depp, I don't know what's been going on with him the past few years in terms of why his past few movies have just been completely awful. I don't know if it's just bad luck or if it's something on him or if he just isn't trying hard enough or what. I think part of it is he's just being kind of he's being like the hipster of Hollywood kind of.
Really?
Yeah, like everything just he's trying to be too different, too weird. So, maybe this will be a nice rebirth for him.
Okay. Trevor.
He definitely needs a comeback. I feel like what happened was he tried to live off that Pirates money a little bit too long.
Yeah.
And realized, I can't do this for the rest of my life. And took some bad chances. I'm real excited about a Mordecai sequel, but it's going to happen.
I totally forgot that was a movie, honestly.
It's like you don't own the novelization.
It's what's happening with the Mordecai DVD?
What?
It's doing a reverse of what other movies do. In theaters, it was rated R, and on DVD, it's only going to be PG-13.
The hell?
Why?
Because it bombed, I guess, and they want teenagers to buy it.
Remember that thing I said about trying too hard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, what do you think?
Okay, here's the thing with Johnny Depp.
And starting with Michael, Brad, as soon as Michael's done, we're going to start an open conversation so you can jump in whenever you want. Let's just bring it all out. Transcendence, Alice in Wonderland, the whole fucking lot.
Okay, my thing, Johnny Depp has not made a good movie since 2005. I'm going to throw that out. I haven't seen The Lone Ranger, but I haven't heard that good of things about it, so I'm just going to assume that he did a bad job in it. Johnny Depp is a very, very talented actor. I love his old movies. But that's 2005. Like, I love the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. I even like Miss Willy Wonka. Problem is, I don't think what Donnie thinks is that he's being too weird. I think he's doing the same two things over and over again. He does the Jack Sparrow voice, or he does the Willy Wonka molester voice,
or he does the fake British voice.
Yeah, and it's just like when you watch him in his new stuff, he looks like he's so bored and he's just taking a paycheck.
I thought you were about to say he's taking a piss.
Into the woods, they act like he's a major character.
It's a glorified cameo.
Yeah. It's the epitome of
the only reason he was in that movie is because he did Todd. Yeah. It's like Johnny Depp didn't do musicals before that.
And it was Disney, and they were like, "Hey, Jack Sparrow, why don't you do another Disney movie with us?"
Yeah, but I really like Johnny Depp. I think he's a very talented actor.
He just has a habit of signing on to some bad movies sometimes, and it's not like it's just been recent. He's done it with older films.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he hasn't made a good movie in 10 years.
The Ninth Gate wasn't really good, but that was an older one that.
Let's get out of the way, Michael. What do you think of this trailer? What do you think of this movie?
I actually think this movie looks good. I'm a fan of crime dramas. I'm a fan of doing true. Not all of them, but a lot of good true stories, especially ones about people, true story characters that you actually would be interested in, not something boring.
Right.
And Whitey Bulger, one of the most famous gangsters of all time, and he just looks like he's completely lost in it, and he's got like the creepy blue eyes and the slick back white hair, and just like he just seems like a fucking psycho, and not like Johnny Depp weird, but just like
Psycho.
creepy old guy mobster that'll fucking shoot you.
Yeah. Brad, what do we think? What do you think of the trailer before we get into the filmography of Captain Willie Scissorhands?
Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of mob movies and mafia movies, so honestly, I don't think I would be that interested in it.
Okay.
And on the whole Johnny Depp thing, the last movie I can remember it being any good in was probably the Pirates movies.
Yeah.
And, well, some of the sub ones, like,
What?
The Curse of the Black Sparrow is actually a very solid adventure movie.
The Curse of the Black Sparrow?
The Curse of the Black Pearl.
There you go.
I'm one of those people, I like the second one the best. Everybody likes the first one the best. I like the second one the best.
just make sure you hide the rum.
Either way, the third one was when they started just pulling shit out of their ass and making it up as
I
they
don't
go
even mind
along.
the third one. I just haven't seen the fourth one. Everyone says that one's terrible.
Which one?
Trevor agrees with me that the fourth one was just fucking boring.
Which one was the fourth one again? Remind me.
On Stranger Tides.
The one that
The Fountain of Youth.
The one that doesn't have Orlando Bloom and Keira
Wait,
Knightley.
is it the Fountain of Youth one or the one?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Fountain-
Stranger. Oh, but yeah, he starts off in that weird place, that like limbo or whatever.
No, that's the
No,
third
that's
one.
three.
Third
That's the
one.
third one. Okay, I get them mixed up.
But yeah, let's talk about Transcendence because that's probably the worst one. Because
He looks bored in the movie poster.
well, here's the thing. People give him shit for Willy Wonka. I mean, fuck, he tried something. He was like, what if I do like a weird Michael Jackson type thing? But I
And
actually,
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Even though I like the old movie better,
it's more
the
faithful.
Tim Burton one's more faithful to the book.
And in that one, he's trying something. He's putting something out. Even in the Lone Ranger, like Tonto, the main problem with the Lone Ranger was two things. One, it was too fucking long, and two, they didn't explain the plot very well. It's a 2.5-hour movie. They split the bad guys into two different groups, and they don't bother telling you until the last half hour. 2 hours later, nobody fucking cares who's who anymore.
Well, my thing is like if you're gonna make a movie long, make it have a plot.
Yeah, but so
If you're just gonna have an action, like a Western action fest, just make it like an hour and a half.
But he's acting goofy in that movie stuff, but he's still trying some. Transcendence, he is not trying at all. He showed up, he sat down in front of a green screen and said, I think I'm sick.
That movie was so goddamn boring. I don't know one person that liked that movie.
Trevor, your Transcendence thoughts?
It was. I don't even know how to talk about it. It was boring.
Yeah.
I don't remember any major details of it. I remember the one dude from Pacific Rim was in it.
Well, it was a discount Christopher Nolan film, because you had the sniper from The Dark Knight Rises.
Well, it was
You had...
it was his cinematographer
Was
that
Michael
directed
Caine in it?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think. No.
Is it bad? I had to question that. That's how
it was
discount.
It was
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman and
was.
Cillian Murphy were like the technical dudes,
Yeah. And then it had the chick from The Town as the main girl. Brad, did you see
and
Transcendence?
she had that really crappy
Pretty
role
sure
in
no.
Iron Man 3.
That's
You're
a good
not
boy.
missing much.
That's a good boy.
Rebecca Hall.
You should be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
You need, though.
And Paul Bettany was, I guess the hero. I guess.
I guess.
Kinda.
I don't know.
But...
I don't know anymore.
And then with Allison...
It's like Christ, the fucking Lawnmower Man did that plot better than Transcendence.
Yeah.
And like with Alice in Wonderland, like he was just doing like Willy Wonka on drugs with the Mad Hatter. And yes, I guess you could say that's how the Mad Hatter kind of is in the cartoon already. But my main
Not
problem with that
really.
movie was, huh?
Not really.
Well, my
he
main,
never had a hyperactive voice.
in the cartoon he didn't.
I don't know. I haven't seen the
No.
cartoon.
Not really.
What?
It wasn't like high
In
pitched.
Alice in Wonderland,
The
cartoon.
animated one.
The animated was the Mad Hatter hyper in that one.
Wait, you mean the really old one? Or
Yeah,
like
the
a
old
remake?
one.
From, like, the
I
40s.
Never saw it.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
he was.
I mean, he was energetic, but like he
It
didn't
was
have like
mostly the rabbit.
he didn't have like a high pitched voice or
Yeah.
anything.
No.
Yeah, but
If anything, he looks like an old guy in the cartoon.
I think what he needs to do the most, which
And
is,
the big problem with that movie is that everything was CGI.
yeah, like you couldn't just build a giant fucking mushroom and paint it.
Well, my thing is like I love like the old Tim Burton movies with like the visual aesthetics and the sets. Like like Beetlejuice, like all the crazy,
I
the
miss
crazy sets,
Beetlejuice
like when they
so
go in
bad.
like the world of the dead and they're waiting in the office and
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, and they
Or,
stretch their faces out to make
Yeah.
themselves scary.
In the '89 Batman movie, they could have just filmed in a random city. No, they built a miniature. Well, like not like miniature, like a tiny, but like they built Gotham City. Like
Like a city
when they're
square.
out on the
Yeah.
streets, like they built a city square on a soundstage.
Yeah.
Like at the time, it's not now. It was the largest set in film history when
Yeah.
they built a city,
Yeah.
and they did it with less money than they use with money for movies today. Why are people so lazy?
What's
I understand it's easier, but easier doesn't make it better.
They want
Yeah.
a quick buck.
But so yeah, I think what he needs to do the most is stay away from Tim Burton, which is what he's doing here. This movie is directed by the guy who made Crazy Heart and Out of the Furnace. I didn't see Crazy Heart. Out of the Furnace was kind of underwhelming,
It was all right.
but yeah, I think this looks good. So final analysis is Brad, you're not interested in the genre at all, but final analysis, this looks like it could be a pretty good movie and hopefully a comeback.
Yeah, I'll go see it.
But all right, well, let's move on to another sad story. M. Night Shyamalan.
Hey, The Last Airbender was I can't say it with a straight face.
We have the trailer for his new movie, The Visit, which is Grandma, I love you to death, but you're fucking nuts.
That's the subtitle.
So these kids and
I was listening.
so we have these kids that go to their grandparents' house for the weekend, and their grandparents. There's no other way to put it. The plot is their grandparents are fucking weird, and.
Well, no, the story is originally they're not weird during the day. It's only after 9:30 when they tell the kids to go to bed that they start becoming weird, and every day they seem to become stranger and stranger.
Well, yeah,
And
that's
Trevor
when,
has
that's when their medication schedule comes to an end.
And Trevor has a theory. Wait, who had the theory about?
I had the theory.
You did. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But I want to go into what do we think of this trailer? Hold on, is this found footage or not? Like it kept switching back.
I don't
and forth
think it's
all
Yeah.
night.
found footage.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's when it's not found footage, it's point of view, so it's the same deal.
It's like it seems like it differentiates from a handheld camera to like a computer webcam.
No, I
Yeah.
think we only have the webcam, and then everything else is real time.
It's very cryptic in a way. But what do we think of this trailer? And also, what happened to M. Night Shyamalan? This is a man, and I'm going to request that you put this magazine cover up next to the Visit movie poster on the YouTube screen, just so they know I'm not fucking lying when I say this.
Okay.
This is a man that Time magazine predicted to be the next Steven Spielberg. That's not a phrase that you just throw around at anybody. This is a man that so many people had so much faith in, and it just...
I would say they were wrong. I would say that they should have said the next great filmmaker, because I love his early movies, but his style you can't compare to Spielberg.
But-
No.
Like they're really nothing alike.
No, but nonetheless, they said he was the next big fucking deal.
Well, that's what they should have said. They shouldn't have said Spielberg, because he's not like, it's not like J.J. Abrams where like he kind of pays homage to Spielberg.
Yeah. Or at least the next Alfred Hitchcock, maybe. But without going into the editing process of Time magazine, this is a man that they've just put a lot of chips on, and he made Unbreakable, which was an interesting superhero movie. He made The Sixth Sense, which was a great thriller. I See Dead People, one of the most quoted lines from the late 90s. Then
Stuttering Stanley.
yeah. He made Signs, which is my personal favorite with Mel Gibson. I love Signs.
That has a lot of mixed opinions.
It-
Some people think he went downhill there too.
Yeah. That was when it started.
I'd say people like it more than they don't like it.
It's like 75%. But then when it started getting 50-50 was with The Village. Because some people were like, yeah, I like The Village. And other people were like, yeah. And then when it really
I
started...
think the twist of The Village was cool.
I like The Village, but that is when it started getting 50-50. Then we had Lady in the Water,
I never saw it.
where... Trevor, you saw a fucking falcon's the villain or something? Or like
Lady in the Water.
a bird comes out of the bushes to go through the wormhole of the...
The part I just liked is the weird dude who was doing an experiment where he only lifted with one arm, and he had one really muscular arm and then one really bony one.
Yeah.
It looked really strange.
like that Starburst commercial?
Yes.
Where that whole town like arm wrestled?
Except,
Yeah.
You were supposed to take it seriously. It was an experiment he had been doing for like
Yeah.
2 years.
And then we had The Happening, which is where the wind is the villain. We had Mark Wahlberg in one of his worst acting performances, planning to kill me. What? No, ma'am, we ain't trying to do nothing. Woof, woof. Hey, what are you talking about? Trying to kill me in my sleep? No.
The scene where he's talking to the plant only to find out it's a fake plant is the funniest thing on paper.
And then we
It is
had
funny as shit.
And then we had The Last Airbender.
Oh,
I'm
God.
sorry.
We could
Hey,
get
you forgot one.
what?
A very beloved.
with the devil
He
Yeah.
produced it. He produced it.
Oh, he
didn't
produced-
direct it.
That's why that one was almost good.
That was decent. That was decent.
I'm sorry, but The Last Airbender, I couldn't even look at the cover, let alone go watch the movie.
Well, that's the thing that people hated this so
Strong
much
opinions.
because I watched a couple episodes of the show, but like people love Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's no denying
Guilty.
that. It has a big fan base, and a lot of people were very
And
disappointed.
M. Night Shyamalan pissed on all of them.
Oh, it's
And-
just like when they made the Dragon Ball movie where he frickin' drives a yellow like Corvette or something instead of having the Nimbus cloud.
He didn't
Yeah,
drive the
but
Corvette,
that's
that
a
was the
completely
bully.
different thing. We're getting off topic.
and then we had After Earth with Will Smith, where he's Colonel Cypher Rage, the worst fucking name in a movie ever. Okay, I'm throwing it out.
I don't even.
But that movie had mismarketing because Will Smith's barely in it.
It's barely in it.
After Earth isn't a movie, it's a fucking vehicle for his son's acting career. It's
Okay.
not a movie.
And that vehicle crashed and burned.
Yeah.
I threw it out there. I'll just go around the table. What do we think of The Visit? Only The Visit, and then once everybody goes, then we'll get into the open discussion of M. Night himself. Michael, we'll start with you, The Visit.
I think it looks pretty decent. I have hope for M. Night Shyamalan. I still think he has. I still think he has potential. I would have preferred like we said, we don't know if it's like all found footage or kind of found footage. I'd rather him just make a regular movie again. I mean, the plot of this, it basically just kind of seems like a modern day Hansel and Gretel. Because, like the crazy grandma, it could be like the witch and like she wants to put them in the oven. They even show that in the trailer. But no,
Jesus Christ.
it could be creepy, like creepy old ladies. Like that's one of my fears.
Old people
like,
are creepy anyway.
creepy old decrepit old women freak me the fuck out.
That was one of the worst scares, and It Follows.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why like Dead Silence is really creepy. It's not the puppets, it's the creepy old lady that controls them.
Yeah.
But
But does she
but
really
I'll
control
go see
the
it.
puppets?
I would say I do. I have hopes. Even if it's not this movie, even if this movie fails, like I'll still have hope in him that he'll one day make something good again. Because like I would say my favorite of his is Unbreakable. Like that's a really good movie.
Yeah. And you saw that recently for the first time.
I had seen like bits and pieces for the longest time, but I watched it all the way through for the first time like a month ago, something like that. But it's a really like dark, like realistic take on a superhero. It's not based on any source material. But
No, I knew that.
It's basically just him like, basically if M. Night Shyamalan made an original superhero story, and it's really, really cool.
Trevor, The Visit.
I actually am more excited for it than his last several movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I was one of the people that was a big fan of Signs, but
Oh, yeah.
sick of found footage. So hopefully it really isn't all found footage. That needs to stop real soon.
Yes.
I think I might have already called the ending.
What do we think the ending is?
Well, let me tell you. I think the grandparents are actually pretty cool. They like fucking with people, and I think it's just an elaborate lesson to teach the kids to go to bed when they're told.
I'm not gonna lie. If that's the ending, I will buy the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way I can see it.
Or even
Go on.
though, since he likes doing twists, imagine if the grandparents are normal and they're just scared of the children because the children are like little demons and they're trying to kill them.
Or what if the grandparents are lizard people in human skin?
Brad.
That's M. Night Shyamalan's thing. He likes to flip things around.
Yeah. Well, I honestly think it'll be good. I mean, I don't think it'll be scary. There hasn't been a decent horror film in a very long time. Of
Dude,
course,
you should see It Follows.
I saw it. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't scary. The problem is, the major problem is we've been all so desensitized that nothing's scary anymore.
I'll agree with that one.
Because, I've seen the original.
Horror movies are scariest when they're younger.
Yeah, but I've seen the.
It's hard to scare a grown man with
I
a
mean,
movie.
well,
without
yeah.
without shifting it back to It Follows Part the review. I mean, if It Follows came out when we were little kids and we all watched it like when we were 10 or something.
Oh,
that
we'd still be virgins.
yeah.
Nah.
Okay, Brad, finish up on the visit.
But no, it's like it just makes me think it's like it won't be scary because I mean I've gone back and I've seen all these cult classic films that scared a generation, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the original Night of the Living Dead. And truth be told, I was bored. There was like
Man, if the
Yeah, but
original
see-
Texas Chainsaw didn't at least mess with your head a little bit, I don't even know
Yeah,
what
but
to
see,
tell
it
you.
had no violence.
no.
The only violence in the entire movie
Yeah, but it's
was
the
the one guy
atmosphere.
getting bopped over the head
but
with
It's
a
the
mallet.
fucking atmosphere of seeing
it's that they
cages with
implied
chicken
it.
bones and
That's
shit.
that they implied it.
But there's
See,
chicken bone. There's
but
chicken
Brad-
bones in a factory.
Yeah,
Doesn't
but
mean
Brad,
it's
you're
scary.
not Brad, but
yeah.
you're not thinking through the point of view that the people that saw those movies in theaters in the 60s and 70s had never seen anything like that.
I mean, that
nowadays a horror movie comes out every other week.
That part-
Things like that didn't come out, and when people saw that, it blew their minds. They were
Yeah.
shocked. They had never seen zombies like that.
Well,
'Cause
he was
zombies-
basically the creator of zombies.
Well, he didn't make the word. Zombies is a voodoo.
I know,
thing,
I know, but
he
he-
made the traditional.
He created the
shoot in
genre.
head.
Mm.
At Texas Chainsaw
Liver.
Massacre, nobody ever saw a dude fucking. And I think the most violent thing in that, besides like just him hitting them out and showing the door, is just the aesthetic of Leatherface himself. He's literally wearing a mask that's made of people's faces.
It's the fucking horror of the misunderstood.
yeah.
You
being
cannot figure
strand-
any sort of rationality to why these characters exist.
And just being
That's what's scary to me about it.
and being stranded in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the sticks, and how they slapped, even though it's like it's based on Ed Gein, but Ed Gein didn't even live in Texas. But like just the whole strapping based on a true story, and seeing that dude, seeing Leatherface, a guy with a
Gore-
chainsaw.
Oh, I'm
Gore does not bother me at all, but by the fucking 5th or 6th time the girl got hit in the back of the head.
That was,
Like-
that was a guy that got hit with a
Hey,
hammer.
I get it.
In the after the dinner scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I
About
get
the
it. PT
6th
made me
time.
pee myself too.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Which that goes off the marketplace today.
Yeah, I know.
Rip in peace.
Donnie,
Yeah.
what did you think of the visit?
I think it could go either way. It could either be really interesting or just dumb.
Okay.
I don't have an opinion on found footage one way or the other, really. I could take it or leave it. If it just suddenly disappears and never comes back, okay, I won't lose any sleep over it. But if it's here to stay, oh well, I'll deal with it. As if old people weren't fucking creepy enough, this movie comes out. It's definitely different. But I think it could go either way. It'll either be interesting or just plain out dumb.
So, favorite M. Night, I know you basically already said, but favorite M. Night Shyamalan film, and which was the film where he really started going down the slide? Starting with Michael, and we'll go around. You said.
My favorite's Unbreakable. I think that movie's an incredible spin on the mythology of superheroes and how it brings it into the real life. And it's not an action movie at all. It's a drama. It's not a horror movie. It's a drama, but it is very haunting. And just the atmosphere is very dark and creepy, and just what a terrible burden it would be to be a superhero. And just like how methodical, and just like the way Samuel L. Jackson delivers his lines, like him being Mr. Glass is way better than Nick Fury. Like him as Mr. Glass is amazing. And just Bruce Willis, I love Bruce Willis, but lately he has a lot of things where you can tell he's just doing movie for a paycheck. But Bruce Willis is amazing in this. Like the chemistry he has with the boy that plays his son. Where I think he went downhill. See, that's the thing. I haven't really watched a lot of his later movies. I like The Village. I love the best thing. I think the best thing about The Village is the twist. I thought that twist was awesome.
I totally bought into
A lot of people hate it, and they just wanted to be. I'm not going to spoil the twist unless you want me. Well, I mean, the movie's old.
It is
I think-
officially 11 years old.
I think
movie
at
is
this point everybody knows the twist
The
of The
Village.
Village.
Never seen it.
Well, I won't say it because Donnie doesn't know, because the twist is fucking amazing. But my thing is, people just thought it was going to be like a flat-out monster movie. And people didn't like it that it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I thought that was so ingenious about it. And I haven't seen Lady in the Water. I haven't seen The Happening. I haven't seen the last Airbender movie. But I never
Consider
hear
yourself
any.
lucky.
I never hear anybody likes them, and that's the sad thing. I hear a lot of people don't like Signs, like the alien's weakness. They think that's too. I think that's kind of stupid since most of the world is made up of its weakness. So why would they even come to this planet? And yeah, I understand that, but
Or even what Charlie Sheen said in Scary Movie 3, where they've mastered space flight, but they can't get through a wooden door. But I love science.
They're
Trevor.
polite.
Trevor. Yeah, they're polite.
Now that he mentioned Unbreakable, I think my favorite is kind of a tie between that and Signs. I mean,
Okay.
they've always both been. I mean, Signs more so. I've always really liked Signs. I think where he started going downhill was Lady in the Water, because I can't remember a thing about that movie.
Yeah.
So, like, I just remember the muscly arm dude.
I need
And
to actually see it just to be able to say I
there's a
saw
giant
it.
bird, and they go dive in a pool, and they find a cave or some shit, and it's really weird.
Yeah.
It sounds like if Stephen King got like real drunk.
and it's Bryce Dallas Howard proving that she kind of was bad luck because, well, she was also in
she's the main character in The Village.
The Village, and then like she was in Terminator Salvation, and then they rebooted after that, and then Spider-Man 3, and then they rebooted after that. Like
She's got
Bryce-
She's got bad track.
Bryce Dallas Howard has like a habit of jumping onto a ship and then it starts sinking. But Brad,
I personally think his Pirates of the Caribbean movies were his best.
What?
What? We're talking about
Oh wait,
Shyamalan.
I'm back. I'm too far back.
It's like, we already talked about Johnny Depp.
See you guys next episode. I'm going to bed.
Oh, sorry, I'm distracted by my phone.
can you imagine? Can you imagine?
I didn't want to do any more anyway. I mean,
Can you imagine if he did direct Pirates of the Caribbean? Water would have been sand the whole time,
Yeah.
and the beach would have been water.
And he didn't have a jar of dirt. He had a jar of bugs.
Okay, Brad.
M. Night
Favorite M. Night
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan film where he started shitting. Donnie, we'll come back to Brad.
Well, I was a fan of Pirates too. But
Hey, listen. M. Night Shyamalan, I absolutely love The Empire Strikes Back.
That's like the greatest twist ever.
Scooby Doo's the greatest movie ever.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, I think the only M. Night Shyamalan movie I've seen from beginning to end is The Last Airbender.
Oh, God damn.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's not a good one to start.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't.
I'll give you a spoiler alert. He was good at one time.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell that just from the snippets I've seen of stuff he's done before and just how people talk about him. So I can't really pick a favorite
Yeah.
movie of his, and I can't really tell you where he started to decline.
Okay.
But I think I can give a reason why he started to decline, and I can give you the exact point where he officially went off the deep end.
Okay.
I think the reason he started to decline was because he got his head up his own ass too much, and
Probably.
the exact moment where it reached its peak was The Last Airbender. He was doing an interview about the movie, and somebody said to him, you changed a lot with the movie, with the source material and everything. Like, why? Like, for example, you changed the pronunciation of like half the main characters' names.
Ong.
Yeah, Aang becomes On, Sokka becomes Sokka becomes Sokka, Iroh becomes Iro, which sounds like a fucking infection. So they asked him, like, Shyamalan, why did you do that? Why? And he goes, well, they're Asian names, and this is the more proper Asian pronunciation of them. And seeing as how I'm Asian, I think I owe it to my culture and my heritage to pronounce them properly. What the fuck do you care? It's a fucking kid's cartoon.
Or he was too lazy to look up the proper pronunciation for them.
Another thing he did was, in the cartoon, the firebenders, they can just create fire at will. Shoot fireballs right out of their hands. In the movie, he said... he had the firebenders, they can't actually bend fire unless there's fire nearby.
They basically made them all like Pyro from X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he
God,
said
that's
and he said the
horrible.
reason was because, well...
Pardon the pun, but he was trying to water him down.
Yeah. He said the reason was because Earth water, and technically even airbenders can't bend their element unless it's nearby. So why should firebenders be any different? I said, well, maybe that's what gave them the fucking edge in the first place.
Well,
And that's why they were able to conquer the whole fucking world.
That and some of them could shoot lightning.
Yeah. So that's the point where he officially went off the deep end. His head got up his ass so much that he thought he could do whatever the fuck he wanted, even with something that wasn't his own source material.
Okay. Well, I think you nailed it there. My favorite M. Night Shyamalan film, and I'm going to have to agree with half of Trevor's tie, is Signs. I love Signs. I love Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is what makes that movie great. Mel Gibson's acting in that movie is just terrific. The scene where...
I'm just going to go on the record and say racist-ass Melly Gibson is still kind of my shit.
No, I love... I'm sorry.
I don't care what Mel Gibson says. What you do in your personal life is your own goddamn business. But as an actor, he is amazing. Mel Gibson is such a beautiful actor. No, have you? It's
he's
like
a beautiful
it's
man.
like have you
I
seen
agree.
his watch? And if you don't believe me, watch Braveheart and try not to cry. I swear to my dad is the toughest guy I ever know, and that movie just breaks you down. Just Mel Gibson's acting, his directing, the fucking soundtrack of the bagpipes, like that movie makes you cry. I had to hold back tears so many times throughout that movie.
As far as Signs go, and Mel Gibson in Signs, the scene where they figured this may be our last night alive, let's just have one last meal. And he used to be a priest, and his children want him to say grace, and he won't say it anymore because his wife died, he lost his faith, and they won't eat. He's literally taking his fork, eating their fucking food, and he just he breaks down and starts crying. His acting in this scene is just so fucking terrific.
So it's you at every Chinese buffet.
It just sells the whole thing, but yeah, and just Mel Gibson sells that movie more than anything.
I liked when he was a Looney Tune on South Park.
Yeah.
I will never forget the most infamous scene to me in that movie is Joaquin Phoenix in the closet watching the Mexican boy's birthday party, telling the kids to move.
That
Vominos,
shit,
children,
right?
Vominos! And then finally just the music, boom, and it walks by. And Joaquin Phoenix fucking loses his shit.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix's reaction was great.
That just as to put your mind in theirs and just imagine being a normal person and finally realizing that you're not alone in the world anymore. It's great.
And they're not fucking nice.
And they're not nice. They're
Yeah.
not very polite. But I think where M. Night Shyamalan, what people keep saying is not only did he get stuck up his own ass, but he started refusing to accept that making a movie is a team effort. You should bring in another writer. You have these producers that give notes and be like, you should try this, you should try that. Yes, there is such a thing as having too many hands in the cookie jar, and after a while there can only be one vision. But I don't think anybody should ever just be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. That's how you get the Wachowski brothers movies of the last decade. But okay, we'll wrap up with M. Night Shyamalan there.
I think Gilbert Gottfried put it best. An M. Night Shyamalan movie is like Pamela Anderson's vagina. 10 years ago, everybody wanted to see it. But now when they see it, they come out of it going, what the fuck was that, and why was Mark Wahlberg there? You're welcome.
I'll break the mold here a little bit. Instead of just going in a circle and giving everyone turns, we'll just start it open, jump in whenever you can. Universal Pictures came out this week. And no, I don't mean they came out of the closet.
One day, though.
Universal Pictures came out and announced different release dates for their big tentpole films. And I'll start with the one that pissed, yeah. I'll start with the one. I'll start with the one that pissed me off the most, which was they're trying to reboot their classic monsters. They had Dracula Untold, which was basically Batman Begins with Dracula.
I actually like that movie. Like, nobody ever talks about that movie. I actually enjoyed that movie. I thought Luke Evans was awesome as Dracula and made him like a tragic hero. And just Charles Dance was essentially kind of, well, he wasn't the villain like Dominic Cooper's the villain, but they set him up as kind of the big baddie in the background.
Yeah,
Batty. Yeah.
It's like poetry.
But like, no,
They rhyme.
Charles Dance is amazing. He's Tywin Lannister in Game of Thrones. He's just amazing.
So they're trying to have like an Avengers type thing, a shared universe where we're gonna have the Wolfman and Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, maybe Phantom of the Opera. I don't know.
I want to know because the next one they're saying is the Mummy, but there's a Frankenstein movie coming out with James McAvoy, Daniel Radcliffe. Is that one going to be connected?
I don't think so.
Which sucks because like that one looks good.
But so they're trying to have them all team up together in an Avengers type way. The Mummy. So keep in mind, Dracula Untold came out October of this previous October, which is actually perfect. They should have these movies come out each year, every October, because October, horror, whatever.
Halloween.
October needs some more fun movies, which this October is shaping up to be pretty eventful. Originally, The Mummy wasn't supposed to come out until fucking next June, 2016. Now The Mummy got pushed back to March 2017. I've said this once and I'll say it again. You're filming a giant Band-Aid in the desert getting shot up by army men. I don't understand why that takes so fucking long to do.
Hey, it gets hot in the desert, essay.
I mean, like, the fucking DC universe is moving faster than this shit.
I even think like I'm pretty sure the official plot of the new Mummy was cool. Like some people were kind of because it's not Egyptian anymore.
No, it's Iraqi.
It's modern day soldiers, U.S. soldiers in Iraq, and they find a tomb, because basically what they're doing is like you see in Dracula Untold, since they're doing a shared universe, they're not making them like just like the villains of the story. They're making them like tragic anti-heroes. That's why they had like Charles Dance's character as like a big baddie vampire, and Dracula was like the tragic hero.
Yeah.
So they make like one of the U.S. soldiers becomes cursed and turns into the Mummy.
Yeah.
So I think that sounds cool. Some people might not like that, but I think I'm cool with them doing something different because we've seen the classic monster movie stories like over. There's one for every generation.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they're also trying to get Scarlett Johansson to be the damsel in distress in the Creature from the Black Lagoon remake. Which I'm sure a lot of
awesome.
Gentlemen around the table wouldn't mind her getting wet in the
Yes.
pool.
No, you know who was really hot? The chick, I can't remember her name. The chick that's Dracula's wife.
Yeah.
The blonde. What was her name?
I forget.
She was really hot.
Lady McWoman. So, thoughts around the table on The Mummy?
In general or the delay?
Everything.
Oh.
I still haven't seen Dracula Untold, but I think the idea of them doing like a shared universe with their old classic monsters is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I think them delaying The Mummy is very detrimental to their cause.
Yeah. Trevor.
I mean, I pretty much agree with Donnie. I think
Taking too long.
delaying your second movie to introduce a universe. You can't introduce a universe.
Now, like if they were midway through it, then sure, go ahead, take your time. But
I mean, they can't even get it off the ground.
The-
So
I
as
mean,
far
what
as you
did-
know,
what-
there could be more delays.
when did Dracula Untold come out?
This previous October.
Then The Mummy should have we should have gotten like
You get one every
posters and
October.
maybe a teaser by now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim Allen.
Well, that's what they should do. At this point, they might as well just start trying to have 2 a year then whenever they get started. Because
Yeah.
they need to make up for lost time. But I think have one a year every October. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the plot. I just want to see a movie where they all team up Avengers style
Yeah.
And they fight
and
Thanos.
fight that old Dracula because that's where I figure it's going.
Yeah, Charles Dance.
Yeah.
Where he's like, let the games begin.
Brad, thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's a good idea, but at the same time,
I'm playing this app.
But at the same time, I think, sometimes you need to stop with the whole, remaking a series. Sometimes it's just kind of move on to something.
My thing is, but here's the argument for that. They've been remaking monster movies like forever. Like this isn't just a thing. People can argue like the people have been overkill with remakes. They've remade the classic movie monsters like literally like every 10 years, like since the 1920s. Like it's almost become like a tradition just to do one for every generation. And in a lot of ways, I like that. Like look at all the Draculas. We've had like the old Nosferatu where Max Schreck played. We've had Bela Lugosi. We've had Christopher Lee. We've had Frank Langella. We've had Gary Oldman. We had Gerard Butler in Dracula 2000. We had Richard Roxburgh in the Van Helsing action movie. Like we've seen what's the name of the guy that plays him in the show? He was in
Jonathan Rhys-Meyers.
Jonathan Rhys-Meyers is Dracula. Luke Evans is Dracula and Dracula Untold. Like, and I think that's cool just seeing him portrayed in all different ways. We've seen so many Frankensteins, like Boris Karloff,
Robert De Niro.
The guy who played, he was the bad guy in Hellboy too. He was Frankenstein in a TV movie.
The one in Van Helsing.
Lon Chaney Jr. played Frankenstein. Bela Lugosi even played Frankenstein at one point. Well, the monster, not the doctor. Yeah, it's just, and then we've seen all the different, like, one of the biggest movie, like, monster movie remakes that was a huge success was the Mummy movies. When they remade The Mummy in the 90s with Brendan Fraser.
Those were so fun.
Like, those movies were huge. I mean, yeah, the third one sucked and destroyed the franchise, but The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, like, those two movies are awesome.
Yeah.
I love those movies. I will always love those movies. They're like some of the best adventure movies.
Yeah.
Go on.
We also had Warcraft, based on the very popular video game Warcraft from Blizzard. Legendary Pictures is making it for Universal. It was supposed to come out next March, and it got pushed until June. This one makes more sense because it came in between, like a little bit after Star Wars, which Star Wars is going to own the box office for like a month and a half, maybe even 2 months, and then it came out. It had the fucking nuts to come out like 2 weeks before Batman vs. Superman. I'm sorry. When you have a Batman movie come out that's also a Superman movie, it's game over.
Like,
but if it comes out 2 weeks before, it still has 2 weeks to make money.
So it's 2 weeks to make money, but it... I mean...
But the thing is, a movie being number one for 2 weeks is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, not many movies stayed number one longer than a week. Like, a movie being number one for 2 weeks is a bit of a feat.
It is true, and in a way, they're just all they're doing is they're pushing it to a busier season, which is summer. But so I don't know how that's going to play off. I think it's going to. I think it'll be cool. I love the director, Duncan Jones, who is David Bowie's son. He did Moon.
Does he work at Dunkin' Donuts?
No, he did Moon. He did Source Code.
Get out.
And here's the thing: I don't give a shit about Warcraft. I don't even know. I'm starting to think, is this movie a little late to its own party? Because I don't hear about World of Warcraft as much as I used to in high school.
It's not even about World of Warcraft. It's about Warcraft, the games that came before World of Warcraft.
No,
Yeah, they're doing it in chronological order.
I know, I understand that, but like the fandom in general, just the pop culture buzz of Warcraft, I don't hear about it as much as I did in high school. Is this movie coming out a little too late for its own party? Is what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, well, I don't think it could have competed with Lord of the Rings as many years as that was going. So I'm glad they waited, in a way.
Seeing as how they've been talking about this movie since...
For 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I was hanging out with Michael and Andrew freshman year of high school, like, Andrew's like, oh yeah, they're making a World of Warcraft, or a Warcraft movie. I'm sorry, I know there's a difference, but...
So, yeah, it's late to its own party. That and... In my opinion, those games are very, very boring. That's just my personal opinion. They're boring. They're tedious.
Oh, trust me, I played World of Warcraft. I couldn't... basically, every time a little story window popped up, I just hit next. I didn't even read it.
So, the fact that someone who's played the game doesn't care about the fucking story, that makes me wonder how well the movie's going to do. I don't care about Warcraft or World of Warcraft either. I could care less if this movie ever sees the light of day, but maybe eventually it'll happen.
Okay, Michael, late or great?
I think it's great.
It's great.
It's great because
Right.
you can say the kettle's not as hot as it was, but it's still hot.
That's all I'm trying to say. It's not a scolding.
You can argue with me until you're blue in the face. World of Warcraft is the highest selling MMORPG ever.
Yeah.
And even though there was MMOs before World of Warcraft, people started like
RuneScape.
RuneScape sucked.
Yeah, greatest graphics ever.
I mean, like they had like there was EverQuest and Ultima Online before World of Warcraft, but World of Warcraft, like boomed at like Star Wars put out the Old Republic, like Guild Wars, like all these MMOs, like the Final Fantasy thing, like they all started coming out because of World of Warcraft, because they're like, this is a market where we can get people. And even though some people think like it peaked at Wrath of the Lich King, which was the 3rd expansion, people still buy the expansions. Like none of the other expansions have done bad. It's just like that was the height of the popularity, which I think because Wrath of the Lich King, that's where you finally fought the main villain of the series, Arthas. Like he's been the villain like from the beginning of World of Warcraft since Warcraft 3, because Warcraft started off as an RTS.
Yeah.
And I've played. I actually have World of Warcraft. I just don't have a computer for it to be downloaded on. I played it at our friend Andrew's house countless times. I made a couple characters. I love World of Warcraft, but it's very time consuming. Like you have to put a lot of time into it. But just like playing it like in spare time for a couple hours, it is a lot of fun. And I think even the better thing than the gameplay is the story.
The mythology.
The mythology and the story of Warcraft is, I think, one of the best fantasies. Because like there's so many things that rip off Lord of the Rings and use orcs and all that stuff, but I think Warcraft does it justice. And the ones I've actually gotten to play through, because it doesn't take as long, is Warcraft 3, which is the last RTS they did. And it's a lot of fun. They even have a lot of humor in it. There's a lot of jokes and stuff in it. It's just a really cool, immersive story that has a lot of novels. One of my favorite things, I read the DC Comics for it, which was about the gladiator Lagash, who finds out he's the king of Stormwind. And I thought that story was awesome. I would have even liked to see that as a movie, but they're going all the way back to the beginning, to the first story of Warcraft 1.
Well, they know there's franchise potential.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah.
You know what game they announced the movie for that I wish we were hearing more news about? Because it's been like almost 2 years.
Bioshock?
Uncharted.
No, I've never played Uncharted. Magic the Gathering.
Meh.
I'm excited for it, but
Is that 20th Century Fox doing that? Yeah, I think that's Fox doing
They bought
that.
the movie rights to it.
Yeah.
I love Magic the Gathering, but we haven't heard like any news about it, and that kind of upsets me.
I'll be sure. But, yeah. I think Warcraft will be cool once again. I can't stress this enough. The make or break point is the creative team behind it. The Force Awakens coming out this year isn't automatically going to be a good movie just because it says Star Wars on top. It's going to be a good movie because it's done by a good writer. It has a good director behind it. I don't think Warcraft...
My thing is that what companies really care about, and I'm not just saying it to sound like an asshole, I'm saying it because it's true, they care about, is a movie going to make money?
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think Warcraft is going to make a lot of money.
Right. But
Even
I
though
think-
some people don't like the Star Wars prequels, they made a shit ton of money because they're Star Wars. And I think Warcraft still has a big enough following that when it opens up, it's going to make a lot of money.
And I think it'll actually be a good movie because it's done by a cool creative team.
It has good actors in it, too.
It has good
like
actors
Ben
in it.
Foster's the lead, and Ben Foster's amazing.
Right. Universal Pictures. I'm not going to bother talking about the 50. I'm not going to bother talking about the 50 Shades of Grey sequels. Obviously, I know
None of
you're
us
all,
saw it.
I know you're all very wet and upset that I'm not bringing those up. But what also happened is Pacific Rim 2 got pushed.
Yes. Well, push back, sorry.
Pushed back, yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
Sorry, it got pushed back from April 2017 to August 2017. So that's just a few more months that Guillermo del Toro will never get to make Hellboy 3.
I want Hellboy 3. Fuck Pacific Rim 2. Pacific Rim doesn't need a sequel.
No.
Pacific Rim doesn't need a sequel.
I mean, it wrapped up good. But
It wrapped
I'd
up.
like-
They sealed the portal. They beat all the aliens.
Let's get a little more variety in the robots.
They nuked those aliens.
Nah, man, that was a fake portal. There's another one.
There's
Nah, man.
plenty more.
The aliens got
And
us high. It
So,
was
so
all
I guess
an
we
illusion.
basically got a
Pacific
feel.
Rim wasn't as good as Hellboy 1 and 2.
That was just a portal to a portal. There's more.
Pacific Rim was only like, I don't want to say okay, but it's like in between okay and enjoyable.
Which is why we need another one to redeem it.
What,
No, we don't.
and it got pushed back to summer, which that didn't work out that well for it the first time. Summer, like it did okay overseas, but not that well in America. My point is, it had to make room for Universal's biggest movie coming out in April 2017. It sounds like we're going to get one more ride again, one last ride again. It made room for Fast and Furious 8. One more job, one more. One
Should
more.
I just go ahead and slap a big old turd on the table just so we know what we're talking about?
No.
No.
Fuck you.
No, because we like Fast and Furious.
No.
I'm
that-
sorry, after the second movie...
Probably like Fast and Furious.
I'm sorry, after the second movie, it was time to put your wheels up.
You know, I think Fast and the Furious went over the deep end with Pirates of the Caribbean.
I have said this once. I will
Brett,
say this again.
Your opinion is a little biased on that one, though.
No, I am telling you, Fast and Furious is art.
Art?
It is art.
It's the American way.
It's. But
No, if you want a good racing movie, Red Line.
Well, here's the problem. It's not a
That
racing
is
movie.
that is one of them damn Chinese cartoons, and we're not talking about those on here.
it's not even Chinese.
He's
What's
trying.
that line again?
It's some anime.
It's drugs.
But no,
Anime
I
is
thought it
on
was
movies.
about
There's so
menstruation.
It's a
many-
movie. It's literally only there's
Yeah,
no.
but my thing is,
Brad, they're two
you
different.
can't
They're two
compare.
different mediums.
You can't compare a cartoon to a live action
A
cinema.
cartoon that didn't go to
and what's
major
great, what's
theaters.
great, Brad, is what's great. Hold on,
That's comparing
Hold on.
lead to gold.
Brad.
like
You
that.
have to see. You have to see maybe 4, but at least 5, 6, and 7. They're not racing movies anymore. They're heist films. They're action movies.
Yeah.
5 through 7 is one of the greatest action trilogies I've seen in
There's
decades.
barely any cars in 5.
No,
Most of it's just them
you
like
got to
fighting
give them a
and
chance,
guns and
Brad.
stuff.
You got to.
Dude, I can't even think of the last heist movie I was interested in.
That's because it did everything. It is everything that Andy Warhol
They went
predicted.
fast. One more time, one last time.
But
My thing is,
For the 7th time.
they're just action movies now.
They're
That's
action
what
movies.
It's
they
an
are.
action
They're-
movie.
they're
You
action
turn your brain off,
But-
you just give them a watch.
But here's the thing: should they know when to quit? Because Fast and Furious 7 became the fastest movie to reach $1 billion of all time. Overseas,
you
it
just
is
gave
now,
me diabetes.
overseas it is now the third highest grossing movie of all time after Avatar and Titanic. Somebody needs to fucking beat Avatar really bad. I'm tired of that movie being number 1.
I love James Cameron, but I hate
it
that
was
movie,
good at the
and someone
time,
needs
but
to
it's
deserve it.
outlived its
I think we're the first.
godliness.
I
That
think-
movie is the most generic, mediocre movie I've ever seen in my life.
But-
It's Space Pocahontas.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
Here's,
Except
Space
Pocahontas
Fern
is a
Gully.
man.
here's
It's Fern Gully.
Fast and Furious is never going to feel the same without Paul Walker because it really started with him. It was about a cop trying to get into this underworld, and now said cop has passed away in real life. Should they know when to quit? Should they leave on a high note? That's what I want to
Yes.
know. Should they leave on a high note?
I mean, it's just as we said a little while ago. It's what movie's going to make you money.
Yeah,
The main
they
actor-
should
that's
they
what's
should
going
end
on.
on a high note because if
Yeah.
they keep doing it, and eventually people are going to get tired of it.
I mean, at least stop saying one last ride.
yeah.
Oh my
At least,
God.
Please.
at least quit tickling my balls with that.
Yeah.
But yes, they should end on a high note because if you end at the top, then you're always going to be at the top.
Or, hear me out here. Give it a couple of years, make it about a different group of people.
That's what
Or-
Michael wants.
Yeah.
but
I want more spin-offs like Tokyo Drift.
But if you end on a high note, you will eternally be on a high note. If you keep going and keep going, eventually people are going to get tired of it, and eventually it's just going to dilute the legacy that you built with all the other movies. So yes, they should end on a high note, but like Michael said, eventually it's going to come down to what will make us money.
In my personal opinion, I'll watch a Fast and Furious movie when at the very end the road turns into an orange track, if anyone can figure that out in the audience.
Hot Wheels.
Yes.
Okay.
They
but
dro-
my thing is, it's like, what would make Hot Wheels better than Fast and Furious?
You don't remember that TV series where they drove into the portals and they had to fight
Yes,
against
Highway 35.
I liked that
Yeah,
back
I
when we were
liked it,
kids.
but
Yeah.
Fast
I liked a lot of stuff when I was a kid.
Fast and the Furious
When you were kids.
is grounded.
When I was
Fast and
kids.
the Furious should not be science fiction. I mean, I'm not going to say Fast and Furious is grounded in reality.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Do you wanna
One
think about what you
last
just
ride.
said?
Well, no, I'm saying they're not. They shouldn't be sci-fi movies, but they're not grounded
One
in
last
reality.
ride.
That is-
They're like an '80s action movie where a guy can jump out of a plane in a building, combat roll, and be okay.
I'll give you that. But the second The Rock just suddenly goes, "I must go now. My people need me," and he flies off, I'm done.
Well,
Here's what we're doing. We got to save Abraham Lincoln.
that is
And they have a squad of DeLoreans.
that is my favorite thing about the Fast and Furious movies is that they are some of the last great action movies ever because it's like what we said. There's either
Yep,
superheroes, it's sci-fi, there's robots, there's vampires, whatever. We don't just have
ninjas.
humans with guns fighting humans with guns. We don't really have that anymore, unless it's like a fucking boring movie.
Or it's a
Fucking boring movie.
or it's a boring sequel to a franchise that started 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I I think maybe I don't think it should go until 10 movies because they want to keep the Toretto legacy going for 10 movies because you can't get two revivals unless you're Star Wars because Star Wars will be popular forever no matter what. It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry. Other than Star Wars, no movie should last 10 movies series.
I'm starting to agree.
That's kind of ridiculous. Even the Star Wars films, half of them could have been taken out. Well, not half. I think like 3 of
Well,
them.
see, my thing is Star Wars has
Not half, but like 3 out of the 6.
Star Wars
Well,
has
that's half.
Star Wars has
But there's going to be a
such,
7th one, so it won't be half anymore.
Star Wars has such a vast mythology. You can do so much in that universe. It's not just in one world. There's so many
Yeah.
things you can do in Star Wars.
It's a whole
Fast
galaxy.
and
Big enough
Furious,
universe.
Fast and Furious is just about crime and
There's
racing.
only one Earth.
Earth. Yeah, my thing, you can only do so much with that group. Like they can only keep coming out of retirement so many times.
Yeah.
Until they're so
That's
old
why I
they
think
can't
they-
even drive.
I'm fine with just doing the same thing over and over again with like racing and crime and seeing scantily clad women and fight scenes. Just do what Tokyo drifted. Put it in a different setting, different kind. Like Tokyo Drift. Like they put it in Tokyo. Shut up, Fred. They put it in Tokyo. They focused on a specific kind of racing, drifting. Like they didn't do that in the other ones. Like they did like a different story with a different group of people, and they can do that. That's fine.
But I mean, how many
I have
different
a
ways
feeling-
are there to drive?
I have a feeling eventually that too would get kind of boring.
Are they going to do a movie all about ghost riding?
the-
You know, where you
and-
walk beside the car as it's going?
Fast and Furious's greatest strength is also its weakness now. Fast and Furious revived itself. It did like CPR on itself because it was starting to get played out and people were starting to feel over it. And Fast 5 came out and it turned it into something more. It turned it into a heist action film. And now people care about it more. You can't have 2 or 3 revivals in the same franchise within 10 movies. Like sooner or later, people are going to be like, it's just going to go down.
Fast and Furious 8 will really make or break what happens next.
Yeah.
We knew there was going to be an 8. We knew walking into 7 that there was going to be an 8.
Could we all agree though that if they did say that it's like, you know what, we want to go out as number 1, 7 is the last one, and we're not making any more? Would we be satisfied with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's move into our review of Ex Machina.
Ooh.
We saw Ex
I'm
Don't
wet.
get too excited.
I'm wet.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm dry. But I like this whole thing about all of us just jumping in at the same time. You all go ahead. What did we think of Ex Machina?
Everybody talk at once.
Everybody talk at once. 3, 2, 1.
Fucking Oscar bait.
What do we think of Ex Machina?
Well, I truly think the idea was really good, and the way they portrayed it was actually very fascinating, especially the twist towards the end. But I mean, they could have done so much more with it, especially with AI. You know.
Where does that sneeze come from, Precious?
I'm sorry, that was a little Chihuahua named Blake.
Before yesterday, I've never heard that sneeze.
But
You're about to start being called Muffin.
I mean, truth be told, you guys have made fun of me for this. My personal art of AI movie of all time is still Bicentennial Man.
That's a good movie.
It was all right.
I love that movie. I mean, it was truly a human. I mean, sorry, not a human. A robot.
Close, other way around.
A robot learning what it means to be human. I mean, over the course of several decades, he eventually he gets married. Has
It was
a
also
family.
Robin Williams' biopic.
Bicentennial, 200 years.
Yeah, well, not 200 years, but yeah.
Bicentennial
Yeah,
was
sorry.
200 years.
My bad.
Not a few decades.
Yeah, well, but it still took him time.
Can we go to Six Flags?
No.
No.
Okay. Oh. Make some Machina.
I mean, I liked it about as much as I thought I would.
You get your typical art movie shots that last way too long with just ominous background noise.
Yeah,
But-
that got annoying.
Yeah, that movie really overdid it. I loved the casting, though. I loved the actors they had. I thought that
All
worked
3
really
of them.
well.
Yeah, all 3.
Yeah.
Well, the Asian lady, too.
Yeah, true.
But she never speaks.
No.
My favorite character was the helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, there is the helicopter pilot.
Hey, you're a girl
No,
that just came out of the fucking woods, but yeah, we'll take it back.
I like
No
Oscar,
spoilers.
Oscar Isaac a lot.
Yeah,
See-
no, I love I mean, I've only seen the main dude in like one other thing, but I think he's pretty good.
He's
for
in
what it's
Star
worth.
Wars. Domino
Oh,
Gleeson. He's going to be someone in Star Wars.
Oh, I did not.
And
know
Oscar
that.
Isaac's going to be Apocalypse.
Which
And
I'm
he's
really
the
excited
pilot
for.
in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's Poe Dameron. That's
Yeah.
his name.
Yeah.
So, with Ex Machina, I didn't get what I was expecting to get just based off like the commercials on TV and everything. I thought I was going to get some kind of horror movie with a killer.
Oh yeah, there were certain
AI.
times I thought it was going to go straight horror film. And
Yeah,
I figured it would all be psychological.
No, I thought it was straight up going to be like a killer robots on the loose, just based off the TV commercials. I
Oh,
thought I was
she-
going to get something closer to that,
Oh, she kind of is a killer robot, but
but I didn't get what I was expecting. But I'm not that upset about it
Yeah.
because I think what I ended up getting was better than what I thought I was going to get.
Sure.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't think it was the greatest thing I've seen late in a while, but I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, it is.
I'm with Trevor. That ominous background noise got fucking annoying after
We're
a
just
while.
trying. Yeah. Art House.
Like it started like it fucking hurts your ears.
And then it also tries to do that one thing where they're just walking around in a daze, just thinking it's like,
Yeah.
like they're dreaming, but they're awake. Blah.
Like every scene with the robot putting on clothes took way too long.
Yeah,
Took like easily 5 minutes more than what it needed to.
God, the acting from the actress that played the robot, though, that was
you didn't like her.
no. I loved it.
Oh, really?
I really
It was
liked.
kind of creepy.
Yeah,
Well, she
Yeah.
succeeded in what she was aiming
she's
for.
the
Yeah.
she's the chick in The Man from Uncle.
Yeah.
That's who she is.
Oh.
I could have done without the plot twist at the end. I don't think it completely ruined the movie for me, but it did make me go, really?
Okay.
Did you need it? But
well, it's only going to end one of three ways.
I mean, they could have ended it about 5 minutes sooner and just let you kind of your mind
Speculate.
wander. Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I'd give it maybe a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10.
I give it about 5 microchips.
5
A
microchips.
bag of popcorn in there too.
Michael.
Extra kernel.
Yep.
This movie,
I just love how you jump right into there. It's just like
I liked
This
it.
is a film.
I liked it, but like a day later, I feel like as time goes on, I'm gonna like it less and less. That I'm really not gonna give a shit about this movie at all as
Fucking-
time goes on.
fucking better than Chappie.
Oh yeah,
God, no, I did not fucking like
yeah.
Chappie.
Chappie,
Continue. Though.
Chappie was terrible.
Continue. Though.
But,
I didn't. I'm sorry.
And like everybody did a good job. I thought Oscar Isaac did the best. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's a very talented actor. He's in almost everything, and honestly, I think he deserves it because he's a very talented actor. I cannot wait to see what he does for Apocalypse. That's going to be really cool, especially because he's a small guy. Like he's not very intimidating either. And just to see him play Apocalypse will be really cool. I don't know. Like I'm not a big art house kind of guy. I like some indie movies here and there. Like I love Drive. That's probably my favorite. Those kind of movies. That or Blue Valentine, which is another one Ryan Gosling's in.
So you officially love Drive more than the director.
Yeah,
The best part is the director of Drive likes that movie of his the least because it's the least art house of his movies.
Yeah. So continue.
Anyways, but I don't know. Like I felt like there wasn't enough going on in this movie. Sometimes movies do too much. I think a little bit of this movie had too little. And I don't think the twist was very fucking shocking.
It wasn't so much that it was shocking, it just kind of felt unneeded.
There's also
Well,
there's
it
a
doesn't
scene,
help that they just fucking fully
There's a
talk
scene-
about it 5 minutes prior.
There's
Yeah.
a scene in that
It
movie
just
that
carries out.
that I absolutely hate in that movie.
What?
And I'm just gonna go out right now and say what happens in it.
Yeah.
What happened?
What's his name? Domhnall Gleeson
Yeah.
or Diminal or
Domhnall.
The main dude.
Yeah,
Brendan Gleeson's son.
Domhnall. It's either Domhnall or Dominal. I'm gonna say Domhnall Gleeson.
All right.
He sees like all the different like robots that Oscar Isaac's made, and he's like freaking out. And I guess like he doesn't flat out say it. Like then they don't talk about it. I guess that he gets the impression like, is this real? Am I a
Yeah.
robot or something? And he
questions
starts
his own-
starts like looking at like inside his eyelid, and he takes a razor and he like digs into his arm and cuts himself really deep.
Yeah.
And just lets himself bleed really bad. And gore doesn't bother me. Like people get their heads blown off, but something about people slitting their wrists and that just grosses me out. And for
Also,
a
it's pretty
movie,
unrealistic.
in a
because-
movie like this, I wasn't expecting that. Like, it literally just pops up out of the blue. Like, he literally just out of nowhere just starts cutting himself.
Yeah.
And it made me feel really sick in the theater. Like, I felt really lightheaded watching it, and it was really uncomfortable. In some movies, I like when they make me uncomfortable because of the atmosphere, but that just made me comfortable out of the blue, and I really didn't
Blue?
like it.
I didn't
Like, it really took me out of the movie, and
I was
and also unrealistic. Like, if you cut yourself that bad, you'd have to leave that
If you
house
cut
in the middle of
yourself-
nowhere
Yeah.
and go to a hospital.
If you cut yourself right there, you would have like 5 minutes to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was bleeding like
Pretty
really bad,
much, yeah.
and he could have just. You can't just wrap that up. Like,
Yeah.
he's out in the middle of nowhere. He would have died.
If you
Yeah.
cut down your wrist like that, you will bleed out.
and it like
Remember,
it
guys-
made me like pull my arms
Remember,
in and
guys,
stuff,
you
and I
want to go
felt
across the
lightheaded.
street, not up the highway.
Back to Drive. Drive shows that.
Yeah, that was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
no more time
I-
about slit wrist. You're gonna be sick.
It was okay. I can't really give it a rating because I don't really know what to rate it. Like
It's forgettable. Like, I feel like I'm slowly losing my memory
like
of it.
it's not, yeah, and it's like I didn't dislike it. It's not bad. It's one of those movies where I see it, I nod my head and go, huh, and I never see it again.
Yeah.
Like,
I literally have no desire to watch it again.
But it was an interesting display of techniques and talent from the filmmaker himself, whoever he was, and the actors. But yeah, I don't think it's anything more than that. But it asks some interesting questions that have been asked before in other movies. I could have told you she was going to escape and go out into the real world when they kept insisting how fucking airtight the fortress was.
Yeah,
But she-
I mean, that's not what killed it for me. It was the fact that
She
5 minutes
left him
prior,
behind.
he has to go on about how
She's
what
pretending
if
to
she's
like
tricking you,
Yeah.
and she fucking tricks him. Like, and the thing I didn't like about the slit wrist scene is because they never elaborate further on that.
Yeah.
It's just for 5 minutes he gets drunk and thinks, "What if I'm a robot?" And
Yeah.
you never hear more about it.
Yeah.
That's
And-
why I didn't like that scene.
And then, like, why did she have to leave him there? Like,
Yeah.
why did she punish him?
Why did
Yeah.
why did the chopper pilot make no big deal out of that?
I
Just
understand
this,
why. I understand
"Huh,
why.
Girl in Mill Woods. Yeah, I'll take you back instead of him.
Yeah, I don't get why the helicopter pilot left with her. He should have questioned where.
I don't think it was the same helicopter pilot.
It
I
was.
swear the first one had black hair, and I swear the second one had
It was
blonde
the
hair.
same one.
You could see him.
Unless
Yeah,
she
it was.
killed the helicopter pilot and just stole the helicopter.
Yeah, we don't really get a
Well,
good
he was
view.
like,
But my thing is,
in mid-flight?
my thing is like you could have just answered that in 2 seconds. You didn't have to leave that be ominous. I can understand the ending being ominous where she goes back to the city. That's fine leaving that open.
But no, it seems like at the end when we're seeing her shadow, it seems like she runs away because I think she's afraid because she's never seen this many people.
No, she's
didn't
not
get
afraid. She escaped because she wanted to go out into the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the problem is, what if she gets overwhelmed? The problem is, like I said,
Yeah, but that's not the plot though. They don't address
I
that.
know.
They
But I'm
just
just saying.
they just end it with her being in the city.
Yeah.
I feel like
That's a question that'll never be answered.
I feel like
because
the
it's not
first
supposed to.
2 acts of the film were good, and then the third one kind of flopped on itself.
I understand why she left Domhnall Gleeson there because if she let him escape, he
would
could
tell.
expose her. She didn't want people to know she was a robot. She wanted to blend in with everybody else and act like a person.
Felt bad for him though.
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's gonna starve to death in that room.
Yeah, because there's no way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't hack the computer. His key card won't let him out of that room.
Reminded me of the first Saw.
It's pretty much gonna be Saw.
No, because I don't think this movie will get sequels.
Yeah.
No, I mean like him in that room is pretty much Saw because he's stuck in there. He's gonna die.
I saw that movie.
What?
Good boy.
Saw.
Nothing.
I mean, truly, I think a good AI movie will be if Steven Spielberg makes good on his promise that he wants to make a Ghost in the Shell live-action movie.
Well, he's actually already made a good AI movie.
Yeah.
It's called AI.
Oh, true.
But my thing is like, there is no quest to, we need a good movie about artificial intelligence. There's tons of good movies about artificial intelligence. We've
Yeah.
seen it. We've seen it be done 1,000 times. It really doesn't need to be done again. It's like we have The Matrix, we have The Terminator, Age of Ultron's about AI. I'm sure that movie's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like, we have so many movies about artificial intelligence that's good.
This is interesting. Just to get this out there, the writer and director of Ex Machina. This was his first directorial effort. He is the writer of 28 Days Later,
Okay.
Sunshine,
Never seen it.
and the Dread remake. So,
Other
Judge?
than the Dread,
Wait,
I haven't
it-
heard of any of those movies you
Wait,
mentioned.
Judge
seen-
Dredd
You've
or
never heard of 28 Days Later?
No.
That's
No?
like one of the most famous.
That's like
current
the
horror
best
films.
version of a zombie ever.
Never heard of it.
they're rabies zombies. They're
I'll put
not
it this
zombie
way.
zombies.
Now knowing that was his first directing thing, I'm a little bit more happy with it. That was pretty good for your debut.
I would,
get an A for
argue.
effort.
I would
Yeah.
argue he's better as a writer because 28.
Oh,
days,
yeah.
28
Well, that's
days
what he has
later.
experience in.
28 Days Later is a really good movie. I haven't seen Sunshine, but I only hear good things about it. I hear it's a really good sci-fi movie. I hear the Dread remake's good. I haven't seen that either.
28
It was
Days
alright.
Later is like the best handling of zombies ever.
Well, my thing is that 28 Days Later, they're not even zombies.
Yeah, never heard of
They're
it.
they're people with basically like super
But
rabies.
the way you catch it is what kills me. Like if fucking their blood gets anywhere in you, you're done
Well,
for.
it's basically like normal zombies, except one, they're not dead, and two, they're fast.
Well, I think they're not
They don't have to
zombies.
bite you.
It's like
Well, they can bite you or
They
get their
don't
blood.
have to.
they puke blood up on you.
Yeah.
That too, yeah. But I'm sure.
But that's the thing; they're not zombies.
Just the part
it's
where
very. This story is very much its own thing.
the guy looks up and like a drop of blood goes into his eye. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah, I
fuck
remember
He's
that.
fucking done for.
Yep, he transforms like a minute or
Yeah,
so
they're
later.
it's literally just super rabies. They get hyperactive and crazy and
Oh
just
yeah,
attack people.
They run. They
If
they,
anything-
they don't shuffle.
I don't normally like the running zombies, but they handled it well.
Well, that's the thing.
Oh,
they're
the
not
one
zombies.
scene with the helicopter. Oh man, that thing.
I'll
My-
stop saying zombie.
My
They
thing,
handled
if
running
anything, it's more like
hive mind well.
if anything, it's more like a modern day version of The Crazies, which is another George A. Romero movie where just hordes of people just randomly go nuts.
Wasn't that
and attack
remade a
people.
couple years ago?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
it was
it was.
remade, and 28 Days Later did it better.
28 weeks is like not that.
I'm still.
I haven't seen 28 Weeks Later.
It's don't bother.
well, unless anybody else has anything to add, I think we'll take advantage of the opportunity in hand and make this one of the shortest episodes in a while, which is still over an hour.
Yeah.
But usually we've been going hard at 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, any closing remarks?
Nah.
Nah, dude.
No.
Nah.
I
It's a
say
good-
the next one should be a day long.
It was a good episode. I really like discussing this stuff with you all. And Brad, I'm really glad you were able to make it. Well, will you come back? Will you do this again?
Yeah, whenever I'm free.
And we never see him again.
Okay. Well, I'm your host, Blake Jones. You can find me online on both Twitter and Tumblr. The name for both is Blake V. Jones.
I'm Donnie Johnson. You can find me on Twitter at the Don John 1991. Follow Pukasasi on YouTube, Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. We want to make money off this. I would love to quit my retail job forever and ever. I love AT&T, but I don't want to work there until I'm grand old. Brad,
But
would you like to say goodbye?
see you, peoples.
I'm Trevor Klein. You can find me on Facebook. That Twitter I should be using at Bumbus Columbus.
Wait, what's Twitter?
And you know, I might make a new Tumblr because that last one was a bit of a failure. So
It's okay.
Why, what happened
everybody
to
gets
it?
one.
I never got to it, and I just kind of want to start from scratch.
Okay.
I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with it.
No.
Yeah, you know.
Michael?
Get off your fucking phone.
And say goodbye.
Says the guy who was
Everybody's on their phone.
One.
They can suck my cock.
I'm not on my phone.
He's
Oh,
on his
like a
laptop.
Do your thing.
I'm not doing anything on my computer, so you can suck my big black cock.
Everybody else has their phones out. Okay.
Michael?
All right. Okay. Now I can't end it
Okay,
because
okay.
you're talking over me.
Okay.
All right. I'm Mike Whedon. You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at mwhedon and Tumblr Blood in the Abyss.
Good night.
Bye.